The concept known as Inception, or idea transference as it is used in the film, can only occur if there are pre existing conditions. In the movie, a business is already made and it is up to the team to dismantle it with an idea, of which the fractured business may then go separate ways or unite again based on the guiding hand of an idea. However, as indicated in the plot, the more complex the idea, the more difficult to pull off. Likewise, we have been trained to think that civilization cannot exist without coercion of some kind, police, military, IRS, to get everyone to behave according to the ever changing standards of the state. Moreover, just as dreams within dreams exist and are stacked on top of one another, so too do our rulers utilize the ideas they have already built into society and culture. Just like in the movie, and as we are seeing in our world, so many layers have been piled on one another that the dream, our fabricated reality, has become unstable. Do you know how much money is poured into advertisements to get people to want to vote or to buy things they don't need and will never bring lasting happiness? How about the brainwashing to make murderers, soldiers, and tax collectors, thieves, seem like heroes or a normal, usual part of life? What about politicians that give the orders for everyone else to follow, but they don't have to, they are exempt? Or the soulless notion of going to work on a set schedule because you have to be a stressed out, contributing member of the community and a respectable, tax paying citizen. Or even spending money that you don't have by taking out loans or applying for a credit card. How the elites sustain this dream is through an equation: problem, reaction, solution. They all come together, and in philosophy terms, it's known as a Hegelian dialectic. If they want something done, they just figure out, okay, here's what we want. Now, how do we get the world to go along that track so we can get it? So, as we can see more recently, virus, that's the problem. Reaction, fear, and anxiety, and they could just dial it up and down. The solution is a vaccine, which will make us all sicker, but with all the new government guidelines and everything, what their end goal, what they wanted, was control. So through that process, they wanted more control. Now they're getting it. Another classic one, if they want more power, is wars, creating wars. So that's the problem, to make people, or two teams, two sides, seem like they're against each other when really they're controlling both. But their propaganda makes it seem like, oh, they're such arch enemies or something. So war is the problem. The reaction, obviously, there's going to be a lot of death. We're going to be made to honor our veterans and think that following orders is just a usual thing that we're all supposed to go by. And pretty much they can make whatever crime they want legal. And then the solution is peace until the next war they create. And obviously a lot of profit. They'll just be making a ton of money in the meantime. And therefore, through that process again, they got what they wanted, more power. So you may think that by this point that I'm delusional, or you may think I'm smart. But once you apply the identical lens that your rulers use, it becomes apparent who shaped the dream, your subconscious beliefs, and whose world you are living in. All you have to do is unplug from the dream machine, the matrix that we've all been hooked into, and then you will know the truth. During a conversation with his mentor, Leo's character says, "You taught me to navigate people's minds." Obviously, you need imagination to create a world and get others to go along with it, which speaks volumes not only to how the elites think they are the most intelligent humans, but it also displays their refusal to let the rest of us build our own dreams with a subconscious that is unaffected by their input. There is good news, though. We are now in the period where Joseph Gordon Levitt's character is asked, "What's happening?" He replies, "The subconscious is looking for the dreamer. Me. Quick, give me a kiss." After the girl kisses him, she comments, "They're still looking at us." He responds, "Yeah, it was worth a shot." The diversions of the elites are beginning to fail. We saw it with 9/11. We are witnessing it now with the virus and the George Floyd stunt to re-spark the Black Lives Matter movement. In my last book, I'll even go over how if during the World Wars they had the internet, people would have seen through that as well, and no one would have agreed to have gotten drafted. We're not falling for their crap anymore, and I think the elites are afraid of admitting to themselves that we are their equals. So they are doing all they can to keep the dream of a hierarchical empire together. They don't want to lose all the work that they put into our subconscious. By now, you may be wondering, to what end though? What is the reasoning behind all of this? To quote a line from the movie, "The people that hired us won't accept failure." It's a common saying that money makes the world go round, and it is the elite banking institutions that issue the currency for the planet. I've already talked about how capitalism is a stepping stone to socialist government, and communism is not a far cry from there, with fascism increasing ever more along this dark path. There is no such thing as a free market, only first world companies that own third world business for the exploitation of cheap labor and greater profit. But for us is just another layer in the dream we are meant to associate with equality. In the coming episodes, I'll talk more about the cruel and inhuman capitalistic system we currently live in, but for now, always remember that it was the minds of men who created the world and made it into what it is today by conspiring against us, the general public. And they did this through power. And so we too may conspire against them in unison by consolidating our awareness. I believe that the wife in the movie is sort of like their ideal former glory. It was a happy, joyous time for them when they had all the power, all the control they wanted, the like peak of empires in the past. But she's also like a bug in the system. She's kind of like our ally because it is something the elites are unable to contain. And what I mean by that is inequality. That since we are all equal as humans, it keeps bursting through, like this video I'm making now, and like we see all around us, that inequality is so abnormal with humans. So the more that they try and contain it, it's gonna fail. Also, everyone wonders about the ending and whether the top did fall over, and I think that how in a in dream levels how you can have perpetual motion because in a dream you're able to bend an infinite number of rules and break laws. In reality, you are confined to finite reality. So I think because it was starting to wobble, that he actually did make it back into reality, and he knew everything around him was real. Anyways, the last 2 points about the wife in the end are my opinion, but if you are still uncertain about anything I've said so far, it may be because, quote, "Dreams feel real while you're in them. It's only when you wake up that we realize something was actually strange," unquote. The recommended reading for today is Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand, and this book has turned out to be very prophetic. in a lot of ways, from government shutdowns to just her mentality on life, Ayn Rand, and it's even been thought to be like an Illuminati handbook because it kind of shows the thought process of what one elite, how he or she might consider another, and how they view the tool of government, and just how their outlook on the world. So it's a very interesting read. It's kind of a long one, but I think you should at least look into it. The accompanying documentaries for today, the first one is The Club of Rome, Chatham House and the Committee of 300, a lecture by Dr. John Coleman. And it just shows how throughout history, money has passed through the same hands along with wisdom, and it just keeps getting inherited by the same families, and talks about like the black nobility and and a bunch of other, like how I've said, think tanks that we only see the surface level, but really they're doing a lot of darker things. So if you want to watch that one, you'll see that history isn't just happening, but there are powers that are making it go along a certain path. The other one, because I know this has been kind of heavy, is meant to be more inspirational. It's Charlie Chaplin, the Great Dictator speech. Got some kids playing over here. And I hope it will just inspire you and show you that I guess everything that humans are meant to live up to.